I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time out of your day to attend the webinar. My name's Patty Brum. I have been with Ex Libris's customer success team out of North America for about 18 months now. Before that, my background in higher education was working with different departments, faculty, and internal university leadership to develop online programs for undergraduate and postgraduate degrees. But why am I talking about this topic in particular? Here we have a slide that we think encompasses what customer success does. The gentleman at the bottom, his name is Lincoln Murphy. He's one of the pioneers of this whole concept of customer success. Basically, customer success revolves around our relationship based on the product and helping you achieve sustainable outcomes. So when people ask me what is customer success, it's almost one part technical support, one part account management, and one part just troubleshooting and working with you to make sure the software you're paying for is working smoothly and meeting your institutional goals. A little bit more about Ex Libris customer success if you haven't heard of us before. Our team is here to share best practices about how libraries use our products. We help you make them work for your institutional needs and make it easy for you to get more value. We do that by listening. You can always email one of us and we're happy to set up a one-on-one call. We can share information and best practices. A number of times we've also offered refreshers or walkthroughs on specific parts of our software. And we also just work alongside you, kind of fielding whatever may come up into the day-to-day. Before we begin, if you are the primary owner of all responsibilities for Summon at your institution, you may know about these features already. The point of this webinar is we want you to be prepared for pushback from colleagues regarding Summon usage. Sometimes the features we're going to talk about are also best demonstrated in a live environment. If you're finding yourself short on time or bandwidth, please contact your customer success manager for more info, and they can schedule time to do any sort of tailored walkthrough you'd like with you and your team. So customer success, we have firsthand experience talking to individuals like you. On a week-to-week, day-to-day basis, I talk to people who are e-resources and systems librarians, library directors, information literacy instructors, and more. We often hear the same feedback, especially when it comes to Summon. Your colleagues may prefer to search in databases. They may find Summon's basic search, a little bit unwieldy or maybe too many results. It's hard for your colleagues or even you because, we're in unprecedented times to keep up and activate new features within Summon. And in general, once we're past the implementation stage and unless you're submitting, tickets to support, you may not have time to invest in all the bells and whistles that Summon comes with. So we're going to talk about these points one by one. The first is overcoming the database preference. I'd say we're probably going to spend the most time on this just because this is the most frequently heard feedback I've received. And also, there's some different ways of thinking about Summon and how it works harmoniously with databases. So you want to keep everything patron-centric. Summon is your library's front door. I threw in a picture of Paul Rudd just to make sure you're all paying attention. But here's an actual concrete example of keeping everything patron-centric. Here we have two examples, Eastern Michigan University and the University of Michigan Library. Their Summon search bars are front and center. It is very clear to the students that when they go in to type something in like psychology or another keyword, they're going to hit that enter button and this is going to pull everything for them. When we talk about library discovery, it's all about opening doors. Your discovery platform is not just a place to search. It's where your publisher and aggregator content lives, your digital repositories, any research outputs and data, open access content, also works with your library catalog, any audiovisual content you might have, special collections, and then discovery enrichment. So tools that might make your researchers think about discovery beyond the library. For example, altmetrics, which kind of tracks the citations of articles on social media and kind of outside of the traditional academic fields. It's important to think of discovery as your front door, especially if you're an institution that deals with a very large undergrad population. What we found is that undergrads don't search like a traditional academic researcher would. You know, some of them may be new to academic research. They may be seeing these platforms for the first time. And so it's important when you're developing tools for undergrads to think like an undergrad. Summon is tailored to patron behavior and includes databases. I always like to emphasize Summon is pro-database, not anti-database. Research and curriculum development shows that the way researchers access holdings and resources is changing. I mentioned undergraduate search behavior. Several of my colleagues on the customer success team have presented a undergraduate discovery curriculum. That video is available on YouTube, and also the link is in this presentation, which will be sent out later. Summon has a variety of features like best bets, custom panels, topic explorers, basically customizations that allow you to actually highlight what I would consider underutilized resources. So if your colleague has a favorite database and you're noticing no one's using it, there are ways within Summon to highlight that resource and put it front and center in front of patrons' eyes. We also live in a one-click world. If you own an iPhone or even just a smartphone, if you've bought something from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, preferred retailer of choice, you participate in a one-click world. Let's apply this to libraries. The Open Access Databases website, the Google metadata specifically states the intention is a collection of open access databases one can access from a single portal. And then Inside Higher Ed recently noted the library website will be that virtual front door. So we're actually seeing the words single platform or single portal work its way into the everyday discussion that we as professionals working in library software or working in libraries are seeing. We recently rolled out the Central Discovery Index. The Central Discovery Index within Summon uses a process called match and merge to create one master record, making content easier to find. So again, Summon is purposely thinking about this one-click experience from the time that your records are loaded into Summon to the time a patron does their first keyword research. We actually have a wonderful presentation by our content team about how this match and merge process works. It's called a Match and Merge Story webinar. Again, that's also on YouTube, and I've also put the link in the presentation. So here's an example of a Summon master record. Notice that here there's two content types, ebook and book. They're merged into a single record so the patron can access them both. These little details, even if you know them, are important to point out to your colleagues, because what Summon and what we're trying to do with the software is basically make everything as comprehensive as possible. So your patrons only have one record to look at versus, say, 4 different search results. Recently, Summon also rolled out a database filter. The database filter will show up on the the left-hand side of your screen. It's important to note that the availability of databases with the database filter depends on rights mapping. So it depends on agreements that are in place with third-party content providers. And usually it will only aggregate, I think, about the first 100 or so databases if you were to click this more button. But this is just another great example of, Summon is not anti-database. Summon is pro-database. We want to make your resources and that third-party content you're paying for available. We just are giving students different access points in which to explore it. And there's the highlight of the database filter. We've also developed a lot of stuff internally to make Summon a one-stop shop. We have something called Publication Finder. This specifically works with the 360 Link API. This was actually developed by someone in Ex Libris customer support. So the Publication Finder basically works when you insert a keyword, it will pop up your journals. Sometimes it'll pop up books, but it'll also pop up, just a comprehensive list of your holdings. And again, this is another access point for which students can go straight to those databases. It's just putting things in one platform, in one place. If we're going to talk about Summon as a one-stop shop, you can also use custom panels and LibGuides to create an extra access point to search for databases and your A to Z journal list. This is an example of what it looks like, and I'm also, this hyperlink right here actually links to the code and the step-by-step process through which you would do that. These would also appear on the right-hand side, similar to Publication Finder. It's important to emphasize these points to colleagues, because what I'm trying to show you through these features, and you may already know about them, is they exist and they give students other access points, but they're also not excluding the databases from the search process at all. They're highlighting the databases in different entry points. You can also, if you have LibGuides, tailor your LibGuides to have Summon show the suggested librarian feature using Topic Explorer. To do this, what you do at the top of your LibGuides is you put the name, email, phone number, and photo of the librarian at the very top of the LibGuides. And then what Summon will do will be it will ingest that information and have it pop up on the right-hand side. I love pointing this out to institutions who I'm working with and teams where they're like, well, we really don't feel like Summon sends the students or sends the patrons to us. This is a great way to send patrons straight to you, the subject matter expert, whether it's on information literacy or whether you specialize in a particular field. This is a great way, again, to put the librarian front and center as well within the platform that the patrons are using. You can also combat critics with user data. We use Summon Analytics works through a platform called Oracle Business Intelligence. So you can see in product documentation, you might see Summon Analytics referred to Summon Analytics, or it could be referred to as OBI. Summon comes with pre-made reports. If you're not using them already, I'm highlighting pretty much the major pre-made reports I would use to present to your colleague. We have action usage searches, which shows you the number of Summon searches. Session usage, so how long are students spending in Summon? Popular searches, and this one is my favorite, which shows what are students searching, what's the hot topic of the month. Zero result searches. Where are students having trouble with researching? And I can tell you a lot of times what we see in zero result searches is we'll see things like either complete misspellings that someone doesn't catch, or they'll have applied, they'll have applied advanced search filters and Boolean operators too many times. And then title clicks, which is fairly new as of last year. This takes your databases that are in the Client Center and tracks what databases are being clicked on the most. And actually, we'll be switching over to Oracle Analytics Server, OAS, in November 2020. I know I'm really excited about it. Product management is excited about it. I don't have a screenshot for you yet. But basically, we're looking at an expansion of the platform that will hopefully make polling analytics and kind of researching and going into this data a little more intuitive. If you're a 360 link customer, your link resolver also focuses on creating that one-click world for you. Your patrons have more ways to connect with you and your colleagues through things like the one-click with sidebar, one-click with sidebar in new user interface pages. You can one-click without the sidebar, and you can disable the one-click. 360 Link also adds a link directly to your library's reference chat and interlibrary loan form. So again, more touch points for students to get in touch with you and your colleagues. This is challenge number 2. Summon is too unwieldy. I get too many results. It's important when you're talking about Summon to make sure that your colleagues understand how does Summon work? How does Summon determine what's important? Summon uses what's called Relevance Ranking. Basically, there are 2 types of ranking factors. We have dynamic ranking. That's things like how often does the term pop up? What fields does the term pop up in? Does it pop up in the title, subtitle? Is it mapped with any synonyms? Static ranking, we'll take a look at what type of content is it? What's the publication date? What's the peer review / scholarly status? How often is it cited? And is it in your local library's collections? And basically what happens is Summon looks at these 2 factors. A score is popped out, and this is very high level. A score is popped out for dynamic ranking and static ranking, and based on that score, the Summon results are created. Summon may produce many results, but the alternative can be things like Google Scholar. If you noticed here, I did a search for class issues in Oliver Twist. Google Scholar has a smaller number of results than you may see with a Google search, but you have to ask yourself a couple questions. Will your library have the necessary articles? Maybe, maybe not. It depends partially on, do you pay for that subscription? Is your Google Scholar integration, working 100% of the time? Also, are you going to have to deal with third-party provider login screens? So how many clicks will it take your patrons to access this material? We found that most of the time, Summon, based on the way the platform is set up, based on usability studies, that you'll have less clicks for third-party provider content login screens. Now, of course, Summon is a piece of software that relies on third-party provider content. So does it always work flawlessly? No, but when we've compared the 2, we found that Summon oftentimes provides a more streamlined solution. With Summon, results are based on your holdings. Summon provides more pathways for researchers to connect with you, the research subject matter experts, than general search tools like Google or Google Scholar. So I did the same search, class issues in Oliver Twist, within a demo site that we have. And instead of receiving 46,000 search results, I received 11,422 search results. So a significant difference. Now, if you're still getting pushback and people are saying, Summon just, I have students looking for very specific materials, or a faculty member saying to you, my field is very narrow and I need access to materials that really focus in on A, B, or C. Please don't forget you can create a search box / widget that has preset filters. On the right-hand side here, we just have 3 examples of the way those filters can look. A search widget can be set for peer-reviewed / scholarly content that can save time and narrow down results. Institutions are actually currently turning their physical holdings off in the Client Center. This has helped working through the unique challenges of COVID, where some institutions have gone 100% online. Their physical locations are shut down, say for maybe pickup and drop off of materials. And the other great thing about the custom search box is faculty can also create search boxes tailored to course content. When you create a search box, what it pops out, the code is basic HTML. So it can be embedded into a faculty member's web page for a course, say. So for example, 2 of the search boxes here, or one of the search boxes here, you'll see it is specifically developed for medical engineering content. What the person who created that has done is they've gone into the widget builder in Summon, and I've got the instructions right at the top for you. They've gone in and selected their filters. They've selected, what kind of materials do they want? Do they want journals? Do they want audio-visual recordings? And they've created this search box so that when a student may pop in a search term like biomechanics, for example, those filters will be automatically applied as soon as they hit the find button. So there's a lot you can do in conjunction with Summon and in conjunction with your colleagues to, reinvest in the notion that Summon allows you to control the search and allows you to actually make the search more narrow for students who may not know where to look. Summon also has participant record prioritization. This specifically applies for institutions with a union catalog and multiple locations. You control what record appears as the prioritized / main record in a merge record. So here, for example, in our demo site, on the left-hand side, we have several location options. And in the back end of Summon, you can go in and check which one of these locations would be the priority location for picking up these materials. What order would the priority be in? You could do, even if you're not on a union catalog, you can also select resource link prioritization, which I kind of love this feature. So if you or a colleague has a preferred provider, it could be Gale, it could be ProQuest, it could be a number of things. In the Summon backend, there is the option to simply click, drag, and order the preferred link. So if you've got a journal, like a database with 3 providers have the same title, and you want to send your students and patrons to the Gale database title in the back end of Summon, you can do that. And instructions again are right up at the top in the hyperlink. The third, and this is kind of one of the big ones too, is I don't have time for Summon. Given the unique world we're living in right now, I know a lot of librarians have shifted their focus. Either bandwidth has tightened, given that, libraries may not be as staffed as they usually are. I've talked to some institutions who are really focused on integrating their resources with their learning management system like Blackboard, Canvas, Moodle. And so they're not focusing, I guess, what you would call the typical day-to-day in pre-pandemic times. So making time for your discovery platform can be challenging. This is where I say when you're talking to colleagues, just focus on what's relevant to them. Summit has a lot of features. It can be overwhelming to see where to turn everything on. So for example, if you're working with a colleague in cataloging, talk to them about where do catalog uploads go in Summit. What does the Summit record look like? Keep it very specific and tailored to their day-to-day and what they need to know to be successful. Are you talking with a colleague who teaches information literacy? Point them to the different pathways on the front end researchers will use. So in contrast to your colleague in cataloging, you might spend more time with someone about someone's front end features or what the users are seeing with someone who teaches information literacy. You'll want to look at the different entry points for students. You should also consider different learning styles. I completely encourage everyone to take advantage of the undergraduate discovery curriculum. The presentation, I believe, is less than an hour and it's recorded and all the materials are there for you as well. So it gives you and your students different ways to think about how do students approach Summon Search or just a research in general. Here's some basic Summon housekeeping tips that I call from the pros, which would be different teams internally. And this is just to keep Summon spick and span when you don't necessarily have all the times to turn everything on. We encourage you to do a full catalog upload at least once a year. Again, the hyperlink has the instructions for the full catalog upload. Take advantage of the live chat option in the Client Center to connect with technical support analysts. This is fairly new. We'd love to see more people take advantage of it. The link actually leads to a 2-minute video that shows you where to access that chat. But it's very similar to an experience you'd see if you were shopping at Best Buy or another major retailer and that lower corner pops up and says, ask me anything, except it's the Ex Libris version. I also encourage you to use the listserv. You know, you can connect with colleagues and get help troubleshooting day-to-day issues or have an open discussion of what's working / not working in Summon. My colleagues and I are not on the listserv. We're not interfering in the discussion. It is a very librarian / user-centric space. You'll see Brent pop up on there because he is the face of all things Summon. But what's great about it being such a librarian-centric space is, you know, the feedback and the discussion is unfiltered. We also recommend you use the idea exchange to advocate for changes you want to see. So the idea exchange, basically you propose an idea, you can vote on it. My favorite thing about the idea exchange is that every institution gets the same number of votes. It doesn't matter if you're a community college in Illinois or a major like Big Ten university. You know, everyone gets the same amount of votes in playing fields. And what you'll notice when Brent presents quarterly updates for Summon is a lot of the update ideas are taken from that idea exchange. You can also use the listserv. You can pop on there and say, hey, I posted an idea to the idea exchange. I need more votes. Please vote for it. I always like to preface all of this discussion by Summon is a software. We rely on third-party provider content. When we as users run into technical issues, challenges, or other roadblocks, it can be frustrating. You know, I always admit Summon is not flawless as much as I would love it to be. Luckily, Ex Libris has very passionate, dedicated internal personnel. Within support alone, we have teams for content, linking. We also have a provider relations team. who I've personally worked with in the past with several institutions who were saying, hey, we have a provider, we're having trouble with their resources in Summon. You know, they say it's on your end. You know, we've heard you say it's on their end. Can you two please get on the phone and talk? And we absolutely do. There's the team I'm on, customer success, to help you solve short-term challenges and long-term institutional goals. Examples of that can be things like I've worked with several institutions who are just looking to highlight local collections. That's their short-term goal for this semester. And so it can be as simple as, you know, working with them to get that set up. It can be a long-term goal, such as, you know, I have clients asking me, well, you know, what are we seeing in the future in terms of integration of Summon with other platforms, or, you know, where is discovery going? And we're also producing material like that. Webinars like this are also another example. You know, you pay for the software, and so it's important for you, for as long as you have your Summon subscription, to get the most out of it, which is why we wanted to provide these talking points for you and your colleagues. Our product management team is super dedicated. They are here to deliver the functionality that you desire. And I know from my personal experience that if we have someone say to us, where is X functionality, and we don't currently have it, we are tirelessly working to see if we can make it happen. Bottom line, we are here for you. There's a variety of ways to keep in touch with us. Each customer success manager sends out a monthly newsletter to keep you up to date on all things Summon. This last month, I believe, there was a webinar for small to mid-sized libraries and the unique challenges they faced with COVID. So, you know, we wanted to turn our customers' attention to that. I also want to mention that that recording is on YouTube. I highly recommend you check it out. There are also quarter release notes in the Knowledge Center, so you can see the highlights on specific new Summon features if you don't have time to sit through a webinar. It's usually a couple bullet points. It'll feature screenshots of the features and where to turn them on and off. Attend webinars, or if you don't have time, register. If you register, you can make sure you get the recording, which can also be as valuable, because your time is valuable, and we understand that, you know, I'm super flattered if you're here live and listening to this recording, but I also understand librarians are very busy people. And so you have to find time and make bandwidth where you can. The final thing would be to join a user group to make impactful changes in areas you are passionate about. We have user groups for content, analytics. You'll see things about eLuna and Igloo and all these other great acronyms. And the user groups really get to go into the features and the backend and really discuss what they want to see in terms of improvements. You know, it's really great too, if you're passionate about something like user data, to connect with other peers who are using the same platform and are passionate about the same topic. It's a great place for not only discussion on where we ex Libris can improve the platform, but also what are your peers doing in other institutions. That is basically the overall slide deck.